I got Bluetooth technology. I didn't know we had that.
Yeah, I've got a powered speaker here for my presentation if you want to use it with.
We can do that too. This should connect if he gets the Bluetooth to go here. Searching.
Yeah, we used to use cables.
We tried using the cable.
And we never had trouble with cables.
Well,
We're half.
They just like cables.
Nothing's working. Nothing's working.
did my did you check your speakers to make sure it was the projector speaker?
No, it's going to the it was going to the headphone jack that we had. So we'll just do that. Thank you very much.
Sometimes simpler is easier.
Yep, exactly. We'll go back to doing sound through the headphone jack. Okay.
Volumes are under lock.
All right. Let's see. I'll play it.
Hour and a half.
Huh. There it is. Okay.
I once heard a quote.
Let me restart it here. Here we go. Thank you guys for your patience.
I once heard a quote from the Chinese philosopher Confucius. He said, "Roads were made for journeys, not destinations." With rain only a few hours away, NF-7B and KG-7 FDC head up the hill to reinstall newly repaired equipment. Once the storm arrived, it could be many weeks before the road was passable again by truck or jeep. Conditions of the repeater site road can vary. Parts of the road are smooth, flat, and wide. Other parts can bring your vehicle to a slow crawl. And there are many obstacles along the way, like this one. A rock outcropping, as tall as a couple of railroad ties. When getting over something like this, the trick is in picking the right line. This wasn't the right line.
It's going to be the right line. It would just be better to go right up the center. Yeah. Yep.
Despite the challenges the road throws down along the way, at least there are plenty of great views. Oh, and this hill here, we'll come back to that one later.
Hang on, Randy. We're going to He's going to blow a tire.
At 45 minutes till sunset, with less than a mile to go, the road decides to get mean.
There. Hang on. I got to get the speed up. Get up. The next thing's going to be a lot of fun. Okay. All right. Here we go.
The wet weather over the past couple of weeks has added to the challenge. The rocks are now slick and the soil is saturated.
All right. We're going to get that rut right there. We're going to stay on that rut. Oh man, this is muddy.
The mud is thick.
Come on, baby.
The trick to getting through mud like this is to keep moving. To paraphrase Newton's law, a body in motion remains in motion, unless acted upon by a force. I'm not sure if two Jeeps coming down a hill qualifies as a force, but regardless, our truck is now a body at rest.
Unfortunate road to be passing on.
Yeah, exactly.
We had to back down the hill in search of firmer ground.
We're walking the rest of the way.
As the rain comes down even more.
An area where the tires had a better chance of gaining traction.
Kind of screwed our momentum.
Yeah.
Finally, like a steam locomotive, we started to move uphill again.
There, we're gonna make it. Good distraction, I think. Once we get up here, we can fly down the yeah. There's our site right there.
I see antennas.
Once we arrived at the repeater site, it was time to get to work. We went inside as the rain fell and the sun went down. Inside the repeater building, we found new, unexpected surprises. With the recent rain, the old structure had developed a new leak in the ceiling. The bad news? The leak was directly above the repeater server rack. Water had collected on the outside of the repeater. The good news is, it appears the water never made it inside the repeater. We mopped up the water and connected the linking equipment. Then before we left, we moved the server rack away from the leak and covered the top with an emergency poncho, just in case. With the work completed, it was time to head home. At this point, we were feeling pretty good. Going downhill seemed like a cakewalk. I mean, we were going downhill, right? It was easy. Except, I forgot about that one hill, the one from earlier, the one we now had to climb in order to get home. The slow, steady rain had done its work, and the top of the slope was now slick as icing on a wedding cake.
Now I'm gonna get serious.
Now I can back up. Come on, baby. Come on. You're not gonna get stuck here.
We're walking the home.
I get a traction.
Nope.
All four wheels were now spinning wildly, with nothing to grab onto.
All right. Okay. This is it. Come on, T. Come on, we're almost there. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it.
Come on, Randy, get out and push.
Okay. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. We're gonna dig into this right here. Into that foliage. We're gonna make it. There we go. All right. We almost got there.
After 4 attempts, happy relief set upon us. Randy didn't have to explain to his family how his crazy friend from the ham radio club stranded him in the middle of nowhere. And fortunately, I didn't end up the unwilling star in a YouTube episode of Matt's off-road recovery. This reminds me of another quote. This one from comedian Jerry Seinfeld. He said, "Sometimes the road less traveled is less traveled for a reason."
Wait, am I supposed to turn back there or was this it?
All right, thank you all. That's your. That's awesome. That's the tech report. Something a little different. It was just fun to make, and it was a fun time going up there. So, if anybody wants to know what the roads are like,
Now we're gonna put it on our
there
YouTube.
you go.
If anybody wants to donate to Keith's Tire Fund,
Okay, this time, we're gonna have our door prize. Wait a second, tell you.
Okay, there we go. Yes, that's a good way to pick.
need more toys.
There's one.
Okay. All right. Put that on there, that's brand new. Okay. You come on, pull him, Colby.
You betcha.
Our first one is a nifty camel box. Can be used for your go box, or you can put your lunch in it, whatever you want. Okay, and the winner is,
I've got Niner. Did I hear a Niner? 908-3427. Hey, all right.
our next prize, these are really cool. It's a magnetic tool holder. These are great. I have 4 of them in my garage. You know, and
Accurate.
they're all there, you know, and so, otherwise it makes an awesome refrigerator magnet. I mean, you can't get it all. So, who we got here?
We got 908-3455.
Yeah, Gabe. Gabe is winning as much as Lynn.
Next one we have is we need some crimp-on crimpers,
Doesn't everybody?
150 pieces. Who's our winner?
Winner on that one is 908-3406.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
This is gonna give people.
And the last one is a wonderful multimeter. And who is the winner of this one?
Who needs the multimeter? Okay, we got one. Oh wait, you got one already. How about 908-3446? Hey, there we go.
We think this is a little bit,
forgot whose this was.
the prizes aren't, super, what you would call, expensive. But the thing is, it's fun, to win something.
Yes.
Okay. At this point, Rick, you have some information for us. Oh, wait a minute, we have one person from city of St. George, I believe. Where is he? Oh, there he is.
Hello.
Okay.
On behalf of, stay right here. On behalf of the city of St. George Marathon, we want to present Dixie Amateur Radio with your plaque for the 2022 marathon and appreciation for your service, all your volunteer hours, and all that you do for us. So thank you very much. Here's your plaque, and then a little goodie bag. Now you get to decide who gets all that stuff. But thank you all. Give yourself a round of applause. We hope that you'll continue to provide that service. We love you guys having on the course. We had some new things happen this year. A fire breakout in, I think,
Diamond Valley.
Diamond Valley.
Yep.
So that provided a little excitement.
That was right next to ours. That's why I know.
Anyway, but Michelle couldn't be here tonight. I just pulled in from Salt Lake, and I was like, oh, I gotta get to that meeting. So thank you very, very much. So, anyway,
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Door prizes for February. Look at that.
Thank you. See you.
Okay, I got a couple things here. I am operating until next Tuesday as for an hour a day as W1AW/7. This is part of the Volunteers on the Air program from the ARRL. Now, most of the time I will be on FT8 and FT4. However, there's going to be 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'm going to be doing an hour of sideband operation. Friday on 40 meters, and then Saturday and Sunday morning, or very early on 20 meters. And if you want any more information about that, get me on Roundtable, and I'll let you know what it is. And this Volunteers on the Air, that's a really cool thing. It started back when ARRL had its 100 years, and they just continued going every year. They'll do the Volunteers on the Air. So, and if anybody, we're going to be doing this again in July. If anybody wants to help us out with this, let me know, because they will totally work around your schedule. But you have to have HF. You've got to have HF.
General class or better.
Right, general class or better. So there's right there is a incentive to upgrade, because it's a lot of fun. I'll tell you right now, you get pileups like you wouldn't believe. It's W1AW. That's the call sign up to the ARRL station, by the way. In case you haven't known. I have worked W1AW and now I've worked W1AW stroke 7.
I worked them on satellite.
Yeah. I worked at the station, is what I said. I was in Connecticut, and I went in and worked for an hour on the station itself. So, okay, the Dixie Roundtable is still going on Monday through Friday morning from 11 to noon on the Club Link system. Hope to see you all there. It's a good time. There's totally informal. There's no check-ins. There's no dues. There's nothing like that. You don't have to be a member of the club. Bring it on, okay? I'd love to hear you on one of our 3 repeaters that are all linked together. And once again, 11 to noon, Monday through Friday. If I'm not there, somebody else, Mac, Don, Boyd, all of them, they fill in. And I am looking for somebody who would be willing to take like 1 or 2 days a week away from me. I've been doing it now for 2 years. 2 years, and it would be nice to have somebody to do that. I'm going to brag a little bit. I just bought a new radio, and I do need a tuner. If anybody has an LDG auto tuner that they're not using, I'd like to buy it from you. So if you can get a hold of me on the round table, or I'm going to have to leave early tonight, so I will not be here at the end of this. So. Yeah.
Well, now you got us all curious. What'd you get?
ICOM 7100.
Awesome.
Yes. So I'm very happy with that purchase, even though my bank account is not. And last thing.
It only hurts for a little while.
Last thing, I'm looking forward to seeing you all at Winter Field Day, not this weekend, but the next weekend, and I'm sure somebody else is going to be talking about that, so I will just leave it at that. I'm going to be up there, and I will be working probably a lot in the nighttime hours, so hopefully we'll see you all out there and have a good time. Have a good time. If you haven't worked HF yet, this is your chance to get on and do something. So, all right, thank you.
I got it. Oh, you did it?
Okay.
Oh,
The
wow.
way we're gonna work it is, it's a half-hour operating, and however long you wanna do logging, but a half-hour operating so that more people get a chance to operate. And we'd like, if you've never operated HF or never been in a field day or contest, we want you to be on there in the prime time, noon to 7 or so. So come on down, we'll slip you in so that you get a chance, because we want people to learn and get bit by the amateur radio bug, okay? It's a fatal disease. Oh, you get to live, but it's fatal. Anyway.
Terminal. It's terminal.
Terminal's a word. And the other thing is, we need people to operate during the late hours, because the band is open. And when the band is open on late hours, that means 80 is open countrywide. But here's the dirty little secret. After 65 years of being a ham, I can tell you 20 meters opens up in the deep dark of the night, and stations like Africa and way South America come in like you wouldn't believe, and they're not supposed to be there. That is the fun mystery part of 20 meters at night when the band's open. So Winter Field Day, the last weekend of the month, it operates from noon Saturday to noon Sunday. And we'd sure like some help taking that big tent back down and all those antennas. So I'll see you there.
What time are we gonna set up?
We'll set up at 8 o'clock.
Set up at 8 o'clock on that Saturday.
Can I take 2 seconds, Don, to finish off on
Absolutely.
that?
You wanna tell us about, oh,
So the sign-up sheets are gonna come around right here. So Rachel did a good job setting these all up for us, a lot better than the one that I threw together. So yours look good, we'll use yours. So as you go through here, what we're trying to do is make sure that everybody that shows up gets an opportunity to use the radio. Oftentimes we end up with new folks that could come in because they've seen this big tent set up, and that's the intent of where we're at. This big 40 by 40 tent that's a blow-up tent right there on Flood and First South. People are going to see that. They're going to see our antenna towers out there, clear up in the air. We're hoping that will draw people in. New people that come in, we need to get them on the radio. So if you're operating, get these new people on the radio, help them out on the radio, become that Elmer for just a few minutes while they're there operating so they get to feel what it's like and experience ham radio on the HF side of things. So please be attentive to that versus sitting on the radio and this is my station, I get to work it the whole time. Just let's try to make sure we're growing the group. That's kind of the whole intent of what Field Day is an opportunity for us to go out and have a fun contest, but also get people involved and teach about it. So she's got the hours set out here. She's asked for call sign, phone number, email address. Just fill in the spots. Setup is on the right side, and when you go back to the back pages, tear down is also on the right side. We need people there for tear down and setup. We need some muscly kids. Not this muscle, because we've got to be able to set this tent up. It's going to take 4 or 5 big folks, so let me rephrase that, strong folks to be able to set this tent up. But then we've got everything in between. We've got tables to set up, radios to set up. We have 4 hours. It always takes us a full 4 hours to get the antennas up and all of the stuff set up like we want. So sign up for those. And then I've got 2 additional sheets, or 1 additional sheet in here. We still need some equipment. You see the boxes that are shown on this sheet? That's the equipment we need. We're needing some tables, some folding chairs. Need a couple of computers, although I need to talk to Mac. You got one of them? So that gives us 2 computers. Do we have a 3rd computer?
I can bring mine.
And we got, okay, so those computers are set. And some extension cords, power strips. If you have the ability to get those, we'll need those for setup. Put your name on here and plan on showing up there in the 8 o'clock-ish hour. It's going to take us a little bit to get the tent up, of course, but if you can get out there and help us get set up. That's going to be on the back side of this, and we'll just pass this around as it goes through the meeting. Was there something else you wanted me to talk about?
We do need
Ryan,
security.
could you just- All right, we have Dave.
Am I next, or I didn't mean to
No.
walk all over everybody?
No, Rachel, do you need any time or later?
No, the only thing I would add is to that sign-up sheet that's going around, we do need security for the time that we are there. It's a requirement of the city for us to have that event. So please sign up for it. You can be on the radio and be security, correct, Colby?
Yeah. As far as we're concerned, because
Yes.
you know, what kind of ruckus are we going to cause? They said we had to have security, we had to be security, and if we see something we call the cops, it's about the gist of what security is.
So, other than that, is bring your own food, because if we take food, someone has to have a food handler's permit. And while I'm willing to do that, I did not have time to do that this month. So, sorry, I might bring cookies.
Rachel, I want to add one thing real quick, just so you know, when we were sitting here doing the testing, I got an email from Amazon, and they are discontinuing the SMILE program.
Are you serious?
February 20th, SMILE program ends, so you should find other things.
Well, darn it.
Keith.
Okay, well, Dave, we'll turn the time over to you unless there's, I'm pretty sure we're good with our report, so I really appreciate what's happening. So Dave, we'll go ahead and let you, I can't say your last name.
That's okay. I'll do it. I'll do it.
All right, thank you.
So I will finish up, I hope by 8 o'clock, that's when the meetings are over, right, I believe? Yeah, okay.
You can go over.
You can go over.
Is there a focus on here too, or is it just pretty good? Okay. Hi, I'm Dave.
Hi, Dave.
And there's another Dave back here. How many Daves are there? How many Daves are there that are left-handed? Me, okay. My name is Dave Esquer, E-S-Q-U-E-R, and I am a member of DARC. I've been a member since probably May of last year. So I'm a fairly new guy to DARC. I enjoy living here. And what I would ask you to do is if you're interested in anything, please don't write anything down. Okay? Don't write anything down. If you go to my QRZ page, at the very bottom, you will have this document in a PDF format. It'll have PDF format with all the links in it. So if you want a particular link, the link is underlined. Just download the PDF, click on the link, you'll get the information you want. So who is this guy? Who is this guy? My name is Dave. I'm an amateur extra, K6WDE. William David Esquer. Really inventive, huh? I moved from Arizona, Bullhead City, and California, Running Springs, to our forever home in Hurricane, Utah. We live up at the golf course, and I was a retired aero engineer and a middle school math and science teacher, about 18 years each. I've been retired for about 10 years now. I taught math, algebra, geometry, physical science, all those cool things. So I had a blast in my first career and a blast in my second career. My wife tolerates me. She's also a general, 56 years at Juliet. So we live at the golf course. I have to be in stealth mode. If you have tips about stealth antennas, I would be very interested. I've loaded up my rain gutters. I have an end-fed random wire in one garage. I have a Carolina Wyndham off-center fed in the other garage. And I have a end-fed halfway with a homebrew transformer in the trees outside. So it starts at one peach tree, goes through the palm tree, goes to the plum tree, and then ends up at the other apricot tree. So I managed to make it work. I like to play on VHF and UHF, FM and digital. I do sideband on HF. I attempt CW. I took the course back in 2017 from, who's the guys that offer the course? Long Island? The Long Island CW folks?
Right.
I took the course, got my certificate. I suck. I suck. I suck. But I do it. I'm about a 12-word per minute guy, but I really do suck. You know, it's a language like learning music, and it takes a lot of work and a lot of practice. I don't do enough practice. I'm a POTA guy, and I'm going to put a huge plug in for all you guys who are POTA. If you remember back in 2016, we had National Parks on the Air. You remember that? National Parks on the Air? We celebrated all the parks, all the national parks in the U.S. And that was really well organized by Sean, what's his name? Begins with a K. At ARRL headquarters. And I was at the time living in Hawaii. We've lived in Hawaii since 2002 to about 2016. So I got to play POTA in Hawaii on the Big Island. I lived on the southern tip of the Big Island. You look at a map, South Point. It's the furthest point in the United States, outside of territories, Guam and Samoa. My house was the furthest south house in the United States when I operated my station. I have a certificate that says Dave is the southernmost operator in the United States. Further south than the Florida Keys. If you look at a map, we are way, way, way down there. I diverge, but I would like you to check out Worldwide Flora and Fauna. Turns out Worldwide Flora and Fauna was built in 2012. And as the name implies, it's worldwide. All of Europe, all of Australia, all of the United States, all of Indonesia, all these areas participate in the ongoing program, Worldwide Flora and Fauna. It was started in 2012. National Parks on the Air in 2016 picked up on that idea and said, maybe we should do something similar. So that's what Sean and his crew back at the ARRL did, was they took this and turned it into National Parks on the Air. Extremely successful program. National Parks on the Air ended. People were depressed. I was sad. There's nothing else to do. People spun off and made POTA. They took the National Parks on the Air stuff, turned that into POTA, Parks on the Air. Well, those who are diehards, we continue with worldwide flora and fauna. So I am dual program. I continue worldwide flora and fauna, and I continue on Parks on the Air. Worldwide flora and fauna has a US component called KFF. Again, all these links are there, and if you're interested, click on that. Tons of information. If you're interested, email me. My email is good on QRZ, and we can have a nice discussion. Digital UHF, VHF, that's what we're talking about today. It's very, very cool. There's no loss of signal quality over great distances. It either works until it doesn't work, because it's all zeros and ones. So you'll get some great quality on digital UHF, VHF until you're out of range of the repeater. Because it's digital. It's not like analog where it kind of fades away and you get in the noise. The beauty of digital UHF, VHF, and UHF, VHF in general is it only requires a tech license. Lots of people around the world that talk about stuff, and I kind of look at digital UHF, VHF as VoIP. It doesn't matter whether it's D-Star or DMR or System Fusion. Echolink is a form of digital VoIP. So these are all different modes that you can play with. More complex radios. Here's an FT5. I have an FT1. He's
FT3.
FT3. Somebody stole mine. So I got an FT5.
70DR.
70DR is going to work just fine. They're more complex radios. They're going to cost a few more bucks because they got to do this hardware, software decoding. But you can use them in any mode that you want, whether it's analog or digital. They work both ways. So my journey on digital, I started with D-Star. Oh, he left. An ICOM 7100 does a D-Star. I have a DV dongle. I moved to DMR. Everybody moves to DMR. DMR is the hot stuff. I started with a TYT MD380, Anytone ATD868UV. The cool thing about DMR is that it has a lot and a lot and a lot of open source tools for you to play with. DMR is really, really cool. This whole approach is kind of like, well, I'm a CW guy. Well, you're not a CW guy. I'm an FT8 guy. The FT8 guys will look down at the CW guys. The CW folks will look up at the FT8 folks. It's kind of this argument of, should we have DMR, should we have D-Star,
That's quick though, it's just twisty turning road. It's not.
That's better than to get there?
Oh, no, but when you get to that turnoff, that's where all that really heavy-duty rock stuff started, when we started sliding. That's right after that turnoff is where it gets really nasty.
So to get to the repeater, you go to Chokerville Falls and then turn left. And then you go up to the ridge that you can see off the I-15.
Right.
That's impressive. Next time you go, I'd like to go with you.
You got it.
Yeah, by all means, I'd love to go with you.
Yeah.
What kind of vehicles do you have?
Ford Raptor.
That's where I took 4 attempts.
Go up in, you have to see the chiropractor after.
So anyway, this chart is it's just an interesting chart that Jesus applies. The repeater there, you can come in on the FTM 400 and FTM 5D. You can come in on FT70, FT60. You can do anything you want with any Yaesu radio, whether it's digital or analog. And the System Fusion repeater will handle that for you. That's the cool part. What kind of radios do you need? Well, they're all proprietary. They all cost. FT70 is pretty reasonably priced, like 130, 140, I think. Is it more than that? Up? Anyway, mobiles.
500.
What's that? We have mobiles, we have handhelds, okay? FT1D, FT2, 3, 5, FT70 is a great little radio. I have an FTM 300. The 991 works great. You know, it's a radio in a box, it does everything. I probably left some of them off, but you're going to have a Yaesu radio. It's not like DMR, where DMR you can kind of use any tone or something else. Yes?
I'm going to add one thing too, if anybody is considering picking up the FTM 400, which is the one that has the touch screen.
Right.
That radio is not being made anymore right at the moment because of parts issues. So if you can find one and you want to get one, you should snatch it up.
It's a little bit bigger than the 300. The 300 is also a touch screen, but yeah, it's being phased out, I understand, because of parts problems. Yeah. So how do I access the DARC repeater once it's up? There's a cool little button on your radio. Now I know you can't see it. There's a cool little button that says X or GMX. It looks sort of like this, okay? And what you're going to do is, I'm going to show you a little video. You're going to press that button. Well, one of the things we have to understand about playing with these radios is that, just like in DMR, just like in D-Star, you have the ability to take the repeater and then go somewhere else. So you can go to your repeater, make the connection to Utah Hill, and then you can take that entire repeater essentially via the internet and go over to Iran. Go over, I've talked to Israel. I use this little guy, I'll talk about that in a minute, driving down the freeway. Going down the I-15, I'm talking to the guy in Ireland on the internet. And I'm using my smartphone as the hotspot, as the internet. Because these things always need internet. That's the only way they're going to work, is that they need to have internet. Okay? So push that little button. In a moment, the repeater will come up. We'll give you a little tone. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Then you know you made a connection. Then you're going to go off and you're going to explore. The big thing that we need to remember is, once you're done playing with that room, that node that you took the whole repeater to, bring it back. Be courteous. Bring it back. Don't leave it hung up over there. Some repeaters, I'm not sure how it's going to be here, will default after a few minutes and bring it back home. And you know, that's a great approach. But I think it's only common for ham radio operators to, you're going to use something, bring it back. Take it back. So let's do a little video. Hopefully this will work.
Introducing the most comprehensive protection in travel, air cover.
So I did.
If you're a homeowner in Washington and you're still paying for electricity, then I've got some big news for you.
the information. And so you'll see your node. And then the node, or whenever you have your repeater frequency set in and your mode's on DN for digital, as long as you're within range of that repeater, you'll hit the X button. And it's gonna ping the repeater. You saw a transmission, and then I'll receive the signal, and now I'm connected. That happened really quick. So you hit the X button, it'll send a ping to the node, the frequency, and say, hey, this is me, I wanna connect to your node. And then the node or repeater will actually send information back saying, all right, you're connected, here's the information. And so you'll see a few things on the screen here, which I'll show on the manual exactly what they mean as well. But starting from the bottom, this is the current room you're connected to. I'm in a parrot room. That's what I have my hotspot set to. And basically what the parrot room does is...
So yeah, the parrot room is just something you can echo. Just like in DMR, you can echo to see that your settings are all right. So that's what the parrot room is. This is gonna be quick. I'm gonna just fast forward or move up just a little bit.
It's a node. Whenever I talk into my radio, it will repeat exactly back as I say. And this is to kind of check my audio quality before I get on the network. The next thing is you're gonna have search in directory. So if I tap on that, I have my memory banks where I can see what channels I have stored. I can hit search and direct, or I can hit all. If I hit all, it's gonna ping that radio, it's gonna send me a signal back, and it's gonna list a whole bunch of random wires X rooms. Most of this is from...
And away you go. Once you've connected to another room, you're traveling the world. So that's how you use your actual radio to do that. I have my radio hooked up. I wish to the DARC repeater, but it's not because we don't have the DRX2s. But I'm using the open spot, and I'll give you a quick demo in a minute. Where am I going to go? What are the rooms? Well, you're going to go to yacio.com again, and they're going to give you a bunch of ID lists. Where do I go now? You can pick any place that you'd like to go to. This page goes on and on and on and on. Different countries. You can sort it by location, by room, by title, by city, by state. Wherever you want to go, you can sort it. It makes it real easy for you to just click on it and away you go. Some of the popular rooms. America Link, SkyHub Link, they're out of Denver. Minwiz, Minnesota, Wisconsin was one of the earliest ones. SoCal Link, I came from SoCal, so SoCal Link. US Southwest, I came from Lake Havasu, so here's the US Southwest room. Remember, these are all links, so if you want some information on those, just click on those. So, the other way of playing with System Fusion is this bottom portion, using a computer. So you're going to need a radio, you're going to need a computer, but you're not going to need a local repeater. But this is physically tethered to your computer. Unless you do access mode. I'll explain these, but the second approach is you use a computer as your pathway. You hook this physically up to your computer, and then away you go. Okay, so that's the second path. You can use your FT5, cable it to the computer, and then away you go. You do exactly the same thing. You can come in, you can come out. The drawback is, gotta have a computer. There are 4 ways to play in computer mode. Mode 1, Mode 2. Okay? Mode 1, it's called Portable Digital Mode Only. And in PDN mode, you can only go to digital rooms. And we'll go into that, digital versus analog rooms. There are digital rooms, which are the Yaesu rooms. Ours will probably be dual purpose, right? So we would have a dual purpose digital analog room. So in mode 1, PDN mode, you can go access mode, which means the guy with the FT70 is going to talk to my FT5 tethered to my computer. So he can wander around anywhere he has access to my FT5, which is physically cabled to the computer, and that's called access mode. So anybody with a radio can talk to my radio, which will talk to the computer, which will go out to the internet. That's access mode. Direct mode is just me and the computer. This is digital nodes, digital rooms only. Here's a Yesu picture, hard to read. This one is PDN mode. This one is, I think, access mode. Nope, this is direct mode. This is access mode, because here's the FT70 out there. So in mode 2, I can now go to both digital and analog stations. So in mode 2, I end up with 2 different approaches as well. I can do access mode, I can do direct mode. But in mode 2, HRI mode they call it, you can talk to both digital and analog radios. Kind of confusing. What do I need? What do I need to play with a computer approach? I need a computer. Has to be a PC. Has to be Windows. I'm a Mac guy. I didn't bring my Windows machine that I use to play with this software. I have a dedicated little Windows machine that I detest, that I use to play with this software. It will not run on my Mac. I ran on my other Mac, which was an Intel processor, which let me run Windows, but doesn't run on an M1 or an M2. You're going to need a registered ID. You're going to need an FT5 3 or 2 with that connector. That connector includes that stuff. You need an FTM 400, 300, or 100 with that kit, which includes those cables. And then you need the latest software. More money to spend. You got to buy more cables. That's the approach. Let me show you a quick video.
M0 FXB. So here we are, we're using wires. I think he wants to go for a walk sheet. Remember, location settings, and normally you can, and it'll put in your, so that's good. So we can try and connect.
So here we are in the
back
software.
to CQUK. I know he,
hard to
he was
read.
on the phone. And
nodes,
we could have a look here.
Rooms. You can connect to anything you want.
What else is about on this list? And you don't have to disconnect. You can literally just choose someone. We'll choose one at random here. N6FRG room. We'll go connect. And sometimes it won't let you, but it looks like it is going to let me. And you can see that there's only me and that station that are connected, and who knows what they're connected to. So that's the WiresX system. It's very good. It's got a little thing here we can actually, it looks like we can type a message.
You can do news. You can send photos with System Fusion in the computer mode. You can also take pictures on your some radios. I think the FT5, FT3, you can take a picture. I'm not sure how. I've never done that. But there's not only can you do talking back and forth, but you can actually send messages. You can actually send news.
one last thing we have not done yet, we did not actually, other than via email, announce who the new board member was and the new positions of the board members. So our new board member replacing Dave, who left us, is Adam Brown. We're very excited to have Adam involved in working with the club. He's got some fresh ideas and some new things he's done in the past, so it's old hat for him, but it could be some new dog tricks for us, which will be tons of fun. So we're glad to have him around. Dawn was retained as the president again this year. I got stuck as the treasurer again. Adam is the vice president.
No,
No.
membership.
Oh, membership, that's right. Who's vice? Oh, Ryan's vice president. And then Brett moved from membership to secretary.
You know, Dave presented us with the cream de cream of what this system can do. But for those newbies here and those who are going, you know, scratching their heads saying, well, am I going to be able to use a repeater? Yes. The system that we're going to put up will operate just the same way analog that it's doing right now, okay? But it'll have digital radio capabilities. So don't shy off because, oh, what are you going to do? I need, you know, this, that, and this. So just remember the radio you have, the analog radio you have, will work with the system fusion repeater seamlessly like it always has. So just wanted to let you know that. So because what David's presented is some really neat stuff. Okay, and I can't imagine the amount of things that you can do. We're talking worldwide, you know, from your house, you know. Well, I'm going to have to read up more on it and see some of the videos because myself, I was, okay, it's really exciting, but I need to get it into my head. You know, when you get older, sometimes it's hard to get stuff in your head. So, at this time, and I think everybody who came, we're going to have hang time now, which we hang out and have some cookies. So thanks everybody for coming and drive home safely, especially if it's inclement weather. Are there any questions or any comments before we break up here?
Just everybody help stack chairs.
That's it. Thank you.